I'm Terrell Davis.
And I'm Harmon. We are two of the three partners with Davis and Harmon LLC, the sales tax experts. DDH has been helping small and large businesses navigate the complex world of sales tax.
And along with that experience, we've built a pretty solid friendship too.
We created this podcast to share our knowledge, maybe find some money where you may have overpaid, or at least just break down the complicated stuff so that you can remain compliant.
And of course, we'll throw in a joke or two along the way.
We're glad you're able to join us for some sales tax talk, a chance to get to know us, and we promise that we'll keep it fun and lively.
Since 2001, we're a multi-state sales tax practice. We're headquartered out of Dallas, Texas. Deon and I have been partners for how long has it been now?
I've been with the firm since 2010,
Okay.
but we've been friends
Yeah,
since 1997.
Exactly. My first job out of college was with the Texas Comptroller's Office. I went to Houston. And so a year later, I transferred. I was getting married. I transferred to the Dallas office. And when they found out who I was working with, that I was working for the Comptroller's Office, they just naturally hooked me up with Deon because they knew him to be working there as well. Transferred here, we connected, and just kind of been friends over the years. It started off with the unfriendly game of basketball.
No, I wasn't the enemy, y'all.
And just kind of developed from there. And we would have long, commutes. It evolved into commute calls, talking sales tax, running things by him, and kind of that kind of thing. And so we just kind of naturally connected, and that's how we initially became friends.
I had made a move to a Big Six firm. I had originally started with the state. We both came to Dallas to make sure that our marriages had a little bit of stability. My background is I graduated in '94, went to San Francisco. The big city kind of chewed me up, kind of let me know that I need to slow it down, take a few steps back. And how I got into sales tax was basically from a guy named George Grayson that worked in the Tulsa audit office. Never, ever will I forget George. And this man done a mock interview of me while preparing for a NABA conference. And I know y'all know a lot about NABA. I'll let you kind of get into that side from how you guys got into NABA. But he got me at the state by calling my mom and saying, "Hey, where's Deon at? The state is off a hiring freeze." And this is in 1995. My mom says he's in San Francisco. He's homesick. In my mind, it was the worst interview of my life. Somehow I got the job, though. And that's how I became an auditor with the state of Texas in Tulsa. And I was back home, got a chance to get back with my fiance, ended up getting married. 2 years later, my manager at the time, he said, "Hey, you guys are getting married. If you want to transfer to Texas, I'll bless it. And that'll get you guys in Dallas where you don't have to do as much overnight travel." And I chose Dallas East, and he said, "Dallas West fits you best." So the crazy part about that, y'all, is that Dallas East is where Terrell ended up going to. I went to Dallas West, and somehow we still met.
As we talked about that, so at the time when I was talking to my people in Houston who knew about the cultures in the different offices, they were recommending that I go to the office that he ended up going to. Well, there wasn't any slots available, and I think by the time we had a conversation about it sometime later, we found out he took my slot. And it would have been there if it had not been for him transferring. So thank you for that. As it turned out, actually, it wasn't as, it was okay. Everything worked out. A lot of that is kind of driven by who you're working with, and so that experience ended up being a pretty good one. So
Didn't you come to be with Chanel?
I did.
That's that love thing, y'all. I'm telling you.
I did. Well, once we decided to get married, for me, it was a no-brainer that I would come to Dallas as opposed to her coming to Houston. It just was kind of natural. By that time, I had been coming to Dallas fairly often, so it kind of somewhat felt like a second home. I will say that living the place and visiting the place, I'll quickly learn it's not exactly the same. But we're here now. What went into the decision when we were asking you to become partners? What made you pull the trigger on that?
If you
Was it an
remember,
easy decision?
it was not. It was not. We kind of went through this over progression of time,
Uh-huh.
and I remember all those long conversations, commute calls that we had. I knew that we were a pretty good match. I mean, we have our own way of coming to a solution from two totally different angles. We have the ability to talk it through, which if somebody's looking from the outside looking in, they may think we're arguing.
Yeah.
But we listen to each other, we let it come out, and we defend our position until the other person sees it, and we don't take it personal.
Yeah.
So we kind of do this, and to me, that's the effectiveness of what we do.
Yeah.
And then at some point in time, it seemed like we always realized that no matter how we were arguing about it, we were actually arguing about the same thing, just saying it in two different ways.
Yeah.
And then once we got that worked out, it's like, oh man, we already there. We're in the same place.
For me, it wasn't necessarily a difficult decision because of the trust, and that was very important. I mean, a partnership is akin to a marriage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there has to be the trust, and it has to be open communication, and we've seen done that. Now, you hit on another thought that I had about kind of how it works so well, and you kind of spoke on that. And I think the fact that nothing is personal,
Right.
and willing, in fact, open and encourage debating issues. Yeah. Because I think you used to say, I don't need a yes man. But I think the openness of communication and dialogue, I think it produces better results for our clients as we're kind of going through looking at these things from different angles. And you have a really unique way of looking at problems. Sometimes that may seem illogical to me on the surface, but eventually when I figure out what you're saying, I say, oh, okay, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, we have a cohesiveness and a chemistry that I don't know you can make this stuff up. It just happens.
Yeah.
I'm a knowledgeable person, but I really want to be a creative.
Yeah.
I want to be an artist. And so that side of my brain jumps in quite a bit. And you actually allow me to be that person, and we just work through it, and you allowed it to come out. And you're more, I guess I don't want to characterize you as black and white, but you're more linear in thoughts, and I'm kind of zigzagging all over the place. But I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely a zigzag.
Yeah. I think some of when you refer to black and white, I think when we're dealing with these nuanced gray issues, and it's so much, I think I have a unique ability to kind of weed out the garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as you have all these little facts and circumstance and gray areas dealing with it, there has to be kind of a line in the sand and say, okay, we're going to put it over here or we're going to put it over here, depending on where we're trying to go and what the objective is.
I love gray.
Yeah.
I mean, the more gray, the more muddy we can make it.
Yeah.
I come up with a position.
Yeah.
And you'll kind of hit me with defend this, defend that.
Yeah.
And I may not know it at the time, but you've given me a focus. And I take that focus and I kind of run with it. And there's a few times you'll be like, all right, that's pretty good.
You don't think sometimes you create gray unnecessarily to make it a little more challenging to get where we need to go?
I create gray on purpose, which may seem unnecessary, but I'm just trying to vet out every angle. And like I said, I'm never trying to get there right away.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get every angle, every possibility.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to hit me and challenge every angle I come at. And that's what I like about it, because if we're developing a position, I got to know where the auditor may come from.
Yeah.
And you're one of the best I've seen at challenging and hearing every piece and challenging it. So you help me develop these angles, and you help me toss it out. So that may be the unnecessary part. But at the end of the day, I think it's pretty necessary because you help me get rid of it.
Yeah, it's producing results. So that's the main thing. So something's working.
When I finally decided to come aboard, it was just basically the job I was on. They were making a model change, and it just didn't fit who I wanted to be, where I was going, and what I had signed on for. And so when I said yes, my biggest worry was that's a husband and a wife. No way you breaking that bond. You're outnumbered on any votes. And the thing that made me just really move forward with it is all those conversations we had. And like I said, I could trust you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you remember when we first started, we were talking about branding? Branding.
Branding.
Yeah,
Okay.
Davis and Davis,
Okay.
professional services. And I remember y'all asking me, "What do you want to change it and put your name on it?" And I was like, "No, not right now, not right now." And I remember saying that because I wasn't sure how it was going to work,
Mm-hmm.
and if I needed to bow out because our friendship was going to be at jeopardy, I didn't want y'all to have to change anything.
Mm-hmm.
There were some companies that were looking to acquire us, and one in particular that we're going to keep nameless was having an issue with the new branding that was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And my name kept getting removed from the branding.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I got pretty, I'm going to say disappointed, but realistically, I was upset. I got mad because we had that one meeting where they kept saying, your name doesn't bring any value because it's not on the firm. And I was a little fired up. And Terrell knows me. I'm docile until I get fired up. And after we rejected the whole thing, I remember you and Chanel giving me a call and saying, this will never happen again. We're getting ready to do our own rebranding, and we're going to put your name on it and change it to Davis, Davis, and Harmon. I'm going to tell you, for a grown man, I did have to hold back a few tears. I mean, it touched my heart. And at that point, Chanel kept telling me, you got to stop saying you the third partner, you this, you this is you now.
Yeah.
And that was the part that brought me into it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I didn't realize until you mentioned that the effect that it had, because from our end, it was a no-brainer. It wasn't like we were giving you anything. I mean, you earned it. You know what I mean?
It's nice for it to be recognized, and it's nice for things to happen like that without having to ask. I talk about the chemistry between you and I, but with Chanel, it's amazing because we have these roles that just fit.
Yeah.
And you talk about me falling on the sword, but it's easy to fall on the sword when the people you're working with are just better than you at certain things. And it's even easier when those things that they're better at are things that you really don't want to do anyway. So y'all help me stay in my role, do what I do best, but you do encourage and push me to expand a little bit.
Yeah. Obviously, we all have different strengths. We can probably rattle them off right here. And we all embrace our strengths and don't have a problem leaning on the other person for that strength it is. And so I think that makes it really well. There's definitely I can't think of any real headbutting or competition or anything like that. It's all toward the greater good. So
we know what we're good at. We know what our partners are good at. And we just kind of stay out of the way and say, hey, let me know when you need some help. And so we all operate in an uncomfortable space. And we know Chanel will put us in some uncomfortable spaces.
Which brings us to today.
Podcast over sales tax. Something I never thought I would do. Chanel has this thing about her vision, and she's strong about it. And it's a good vision. And she won't really let us deny it. So you kind of say, okay, if you got this passion, let's go with you.
Yeah.
And she'll pull us. And the funny thing is, I feel like I'm in the middle of y'all two. You kind of have a perspective. She has a perspective. And I kind of sit in the middle. I feel like I'm more you, but Chanel is who I want to be because she's creative. I think when she asks me to do stuff, it's just easy to say yeah. That's what I want to be. And I'm telling you, I'm totally uncomfortable, but it works. It works.
Okay. Well, good talking to you today, man.
Well, I enjoyed it, and we just have to do it again.